On this episode, do you like to listen to information rather than read it? Well, here's an idea to make accessing journal articles just a little bit easier. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Ideanthro. In the last episode of Ideanthro, we had a That's Like Worsted episode. We were looking at some equations about learning and acquiring skills and achievement that are presented in the book Grit, and a key component of those is effort. Something that I have realized for a while, but I'm really focusing on this at the moment, that I need to put more effort into is reading more, or consuming, is probably the better word here, consuming more journal articles. Because that's how we keep up to date with the latest research about what's happening in water-sensitive urban design and urban waterway health, and this big thing that is worsted. But for me, the problem here is that, frankly, I find reading journal articles really tedious. Boring's not quite the right word, because the content is really fascinating, but journal articles are a little bit dry, right? And honestly, I get like 10, 15 minutes in, and I'm starting to nod off, particularly in the methods section. The methods sections really put me to sleep in journal articles. But the info is so important. And I realized that the thing here is, I think I've got a bit of a trend going on where I actually find it much easier to listen to info. This might be part of the reason why I create a video series that you can listen to. I find it much easier to listen to info rather than to read it. I would much prefer to listen to a podcast than to read the transcript of an interview. I would much prefer to listen to an audiobook than to read a book itself. I'll read a book, right? Don't get me wrong, it's still pleasurable, but I much prefer the audiobook. There's a few, I find it easy to consume more of it in one hit. I find it easy to find time for audio because, you can listen to it while doing the dishes. I challenge you to read a journal article and do the dishes at the same time. So I went looking for options to transfer journal article text into spoken word. And as it turns out, there's free software available that is text-to-speech translation software. So I downloaded one of those. Now, this is not a plug for this particular piece of software. It's the first one I found. I quite liked it. There are others. If you Googled what's the best free text-to-speech software, you'll get a whole list of them. Go have a look at that for yourself if you don't just want to run off to this one, which is the first one I tried, and I have no idea whether it's the best or not. It was just good enough for me. So I downloaded a piece of software called Natural Reader. I downloaded the free version, and I gave it a try. I stuck in a journal article, pretty certain it was one from Chris Walsh about urban stream syndrome, gave it a crack, and it read it pretty well. So I was like, okay, one problem here, the free version of this particular software doesn't allow you to save a copy. So it'll allow you to put the text in and translate it live, and it'll speak it to you live. But for example, you can't record it as an MP3 and stick it on your phone and take it with you when you walk into the train station, for example. But the paid version does. So I downloaded the paid version. Up to you whether you want to do something like that. What I'm saying here is, there are good options. If you are the sort of person who likes to listen to stuff rather than to read it, this is a reasonably viable way for you to be able to listen to journal articles. Now, it's not entirely straightforward. We'll cut to the screen of the laptop right now. And what you can see here is this is the screen of Natural Reader 14. This is the screen of the paid version. And the way this works is you have the opportunity, we can see here in a few different spots, where I have got journal articles in already. Now, the thing here is that it will read, so most journal articles come as a PDF. At least all the versions that I have tend to. You might be able to get Word versions. That would be interesting. Anyway, the point is, the vast majority of the journal articles that I have are PDFs. And this text-to-speech software will very, very precisely read every single word and every single item that is on the page, including all the asterisks, at the top when they have the authors lists, and it's like, well, I talked about Christopher Walsh's paper being the first that I read before, be like, author, Walsh, C, 1, 2, Fletcher, etc. This software will read all of that exactly. So it's just a little bit of messing around, but I take the PDFs, I cut and paste out the actual body of the text that I want, stick it in a Word document. That's pretty easy. It doesn't take more than a couple of minutes at most per paper. And then I import, you can see it here on the screen, I import the Word documents into Natural Reader, and it reads them really quite nicely. Things to be aware of here. What happens if I click on this? Loading. There we go. Things to be aware of here. There are multiple different, you can see this up here, options for voices that you can, if you get the paid version, you get to pay for 2 voices in particular. And there's a couple of like free, these desktop ones that just seem to come with it anyway. If you are going to go down this route, try out the different voices first and decide on which ones you like. Some of them are not good. Some of them are just passable. I actually really like the free David desktop one that came with this, but that's just my personal preference. So it'll translate it into an MP3. It's not perfect. It's a bit glitchy. It doesn't allow you to see the diagrams in the journal articles, so sometimes you might need to flick back to the PDF, but it's a viable option. And for me, I really like it for a few reasons. I seem to be able to consume more of it more quickly than I would if I was just reading the article, just in general. So set aside an hour and I will probably actually be able to listen to an hour's worth of journal articles. Whereas if you set aside an hour for me to read, I'll flake out after 15 minutes or so. And number 2, I can listen to this at more occasions. I can listen to it while doing the dishes. I can listen to it while prepping breakfast. I can listen to it while walking to the train station. I could not read sensibly at any of those times. So it creates more opportunities for me to get into journal articles and learn more. And that means me putting more effort, bringing this back to the start, more effort into learning what's going on in the research. And that's really cool. So I wanted to share that with you. If that sounds interesting to you, have a quick Google, see what software's out there, test out a couple of them. And if the free ones will do it for you, there might be a free one out there that allows you to save to MP3. If that's possible, sweet. That would be really cool. Save yourself a little bit of cash that I didn't save myself. If you need to, if you really want to save to MP3, get a paid version of some of them, but try them out yourself. Sweet. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you found that useful, and we'll see you next time.